Thank you all for coming. Thanks to all the juniors and seniors for coming to this. Thanks for all the alumni that participated today. We just had a great State of the School address from Mrs. Cole. We have an incredible panel assembled for you guys, and Mrs. Cole is going to introduce the panel to you all. As I mentioned earlier, the Alumni Association is really strong. This is a big weekend for us. A few quick thank yous. I want to thank Father Swan and Carolyn Swan for attending. It means a lot to us as alums to see them at these events, because that's who we grew up with at ESD. Father Swan was the founder of the school. He's a huge supporter of current students and also of the alums, so we really appreciate his and Mrs. Swan's participation in this. I want to thank our co-chairs for this weekend, our Founders Weekend co-chairs. Another Swan thank you, Stephen Swan, for co-chairing it, along with Natalie Chavez. They're doing an amazing job. They're the ones that are putting together all the different events this weekend. And then also a thank you to Mrs. Cole. As I mentioned earlier, she's a huge supporter of us as alums, which means a lot. We coordinate all of our events with the school, from our bylaws up to our social events. So having her support is a big deal. We encourage you guys to encourage your parents that are alums to come attend our events this weekend. Looking for 2 more golf teams for Monday, another probably 10 tennis players. So if your parents are participating and they're alums, please tell them to come our way. We'd love to have them. And you all too can participate in different events throughout the weekend. So thanks for coming to this. It should be a lively discussion, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Cole to moderate. And by the way, I should mention, before you clap, this is really Mrs. Cole's brainchild. This is an addition to Founders Weekend we didn't have before, this panel discussion. She did this, I believe, at her previous school.
Let's tell them afterwards and see if they really like it.
Okay, let's do that.
It can be yours if they don't like it.
Right, it's my idea unless it fails. Okay, yeah, right. Anyway, here's Mrs. Cole.
Thank you, Chris. Students, we're glad to have you here today. A lot of you went to ISAS. My goodness, we're smaller numbers together today. So I hope that this afternoon, as you hear from your future selves sitting up here on the stage, that you can begin to kind of think about that this really isn't too far away from where you all are. I know it seems a million years away, but it's really not. In the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, you very easily will be sitting up. You will be sitting up here on the stage and talking about your life experiences. As an ESD student and as an ESD graduate, you belong to a really special group. It's your own special network of friends and colleagues and connections and opportunities. So again, as you're sitting out there today, begin to be thinking about how your dreams and your aspirations can be supported by fellow alums. And it may not even be somebody you went to school with. It may be one of the people sitting on this stage. It may be somebody who graduated from this school 40 years ago. But these are people who share a very similar experience with you, and they want you to succeed, and they will be helpful to you. How many of you in here have had or have an internship through Works this summer, or have had one in the past? A lot of you. So we talked about that today and the power of that program. So I am delighted to introduce our 4 esteemed alumni who are here today. I'm going to start with Arzu Molubhoy, who's here to my left. Arzu is the Chief Financial Officer for Atlantic Hotels Group, based here in Dallas and Fort Worth. As CFO, she leads cost, construction, accounting, and financial analysis of upcoming hotels in the area. She also oversees and manages a portfolio of over $60 million, analyzes the daily cash flow for investors, and handles all audits. Arzu is also an executive member of the Cornell Hotel Society Board of Directors and serves on the executive committee of the Intercontinental Hotels Group. Before Arzu took the position of CFO at the Atlantic Hotels Group, she served as the Director of Accounting and Finance for the company. Arzu graduated from the School of Hotel Administration at Cornell University in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in business management and hotel administration and a minor in corporate law. Welcome. Sitting to her left is Jeremy Ford from the class of '93, and I should mention that Arzu is from the class of '08. Jeremy Ford is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Hilltop Holdings Incorporated. He is responsible for overseeing Hilltop Holdings subsidiary companies, reporting to its board of directors, and managing its investor relations. He is also responsible for pursuing and executing mergers, acquisitions, and other strategic transactions for Hilltop. Prior to becoming President and CEO of Hilltop, Jeremy was a principal of Ford Financial Fund, LP, from 2004 to 2008. He worked for Diamond A. Ford Corporation, where he was involved in various investments made by a family limited partnership. Prior to that, he worked at Liberté Investors Incorporated, now First Acceptance Corporation, California Federal Bank, FSB, now Citigroup, and Solomon Smith Barney, now Citigroup. Jeremy graduated from the University of Texas with a BA in Finance and earned his MBA in Finance from Columbia Business School. Welcome. And let me add, most importantly, he's the father of new ESD student, Jerry, who is 4. Laken Litman from the class of '07 joins us. Laken is an enterprise reporter for USA Today, sports focusing on college football, the NFL, and the U.S. women's national soccer team. Before that, she was the Alabama beat reporter for the Fox Sports Scout.com based in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, covering the Crimson Tide's 2012 championship run. Prior to covering Nick Saban's program, she was in Dallas covering SMU football, basketball, and recruiting for the same company. After attending ESD, Laken studied at the University of Texas at Austin. She graduated from UT in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in journalism. Laken found her passion for writing and storytelling at ESD in Mr. Randall's 11th grade class. Welcome, Laken. And rounding out our group, it's my pleasure to introduce Dan Garrison from the class of 1983. Dan Garrison is the proprietor and distiller at Garrison Brothers Distillery, located in, is it High, Texas?
High, Texas.
High, Texas. In 2004, he walked away from a financially rewarding but volatile career as a software marketing professional to start Garrison Brothers Distillery. After much research, Dan set up shop on his small farm and ranch in the Hill Country in 2007. Since then, bottles of Garrison Brothers Texas Straight Bourbon Whiskey, which I hope none of you have ever had, have become sought-after collector's items. Save it for when you're 21. The family farm and distillery has become a bourbon mecca, attracting hundreds of visitors a week, and some bars in Austin and Fredericksburg are even selling more Garrison Brothers than Jack Daniels. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks.
So I have a range of questions here. We're going to start out. If somebody could just be in charge of giving me a high sign when we're about to run out of time. Chris, can you do that? Okay, great. We'll save maybe 10 minutes. Save 10 minutes for questions. What time are we done? 3? Okay, so at 2:50. Thank you. If not before. Okay. So here's the first question to our panelists, and you could just kind of work your way down. As you look back on your time at ESD, what are the strongest memories of your ESD experience?
Well, looking back at my time at ESD, some of the strongest memories I had was the people I met and the skills that I learned. I learned how to problem solve, I learned how to lead, I learned how to be creative and take what you like and enjoy and make something of it. And I met people who have been lasting friends ever since. Some of my friends who I met the very first day of high school, my very first friend that I met, till date, her and I have been best friends. And I just recently attended her wedding in Scotland. So one of the big things that I would say at ESD that you do learn is, besides creating lasting memories, you learn how to be your own person.
Thank you. I guess what I remember first is probably I was on a basketball team and went 3-21, I think. So that was pretty rough. But I really remember all the great teachers and administration that took care of us and really guided our way. And my closest 4 friends in the world today, 2 of them still are in this room, and I graduated together. And so just learning how to make friends and be a friend and have lifetime friends has been the best.
I would say the teachers were the big thing for me. Like Meredyth said when she was introducing, I really developed my passion for writing, my creativity in Mr. Randall's English class and Ms. Gonzalez's creative writing class my senior year. And it was here at ESD that I really decided to become a sports writer and pursue a career in journalism. But also, I would be lying if I said one of my favorite memories here was not being a 4-year starter for the soccer team. My senior year we won SPC. It was Division II, but we don't really talk about that. We won SPC. And my senior year, and I scored the winning penalty kick. So it remains one of the best moments of my life.
We had a very similar ending this year. Oh, really? And we won with penalty kick. Awesome.
So I discovered myself at ESD. I gained confidence in myself, and I learned that I had potential because of that gentleman right there in the collar. Most of my class, I was the class of 83, and there were 36 people in our class. 26 were girls. And I was a derelict and a criminal, like all of the other kids in my class. Most of us have been kicked out of other schools, and Father Swan took us in, and Father Swan taught us that we could do things. We could accomplish things. And he gave me confidence to run for vice president of the senior class, to try out for all the sports teams, to make A's. I made A's my senior year. I'd never done that before. And so ESD for me was an eye-opener that I had something of value that I could give a community. And I thank you, Father Schwab.
Could you all speak briefly about what you remember from your college selection process, kind of the thinking that went into where you were going to go to college?
So I was one of those kids who always wanted to leave Dallas, no matter what. I wanted to apply to a school, whether it was in New York or Chicago, or go to a big city and do something. And I remember my father and I sitting at the kitchen table, and he goes, Arzu, you can go anywhere you want as long as it's a university that's accredited and you can do something with it. A lot of kids, when I was going to school, wanted to go to school just for the sake that I'm going to this city, I'm going to this school, I'm doing that, but they didn't know what they wanted to do when they got there. It's a discovery phase. It's, okay, I'm going to figure it out once I get there. And I know college is for exploration, but you kind of have to know, in a way, where you're going and what you want to do in life. So the biggest thing that I did when I was choosing with colleges is that I needed to find my niche of what I wanted to become when I grew up. Those 4 years were my years to